Hi, Stefan Fischer here from Alloffroad. Thanks a lot for tuning into our South Australian adventure series. This was one of the most amazing trips I have done in a long time. In the first episode we visited the Bendelby Ranges and did some of the best four-wheel driving the Flinders Ranges have to offer. In the second and third episode we crossed the Googs Track and did a detour into the Jelabina Wilderness. And now in this episode we're heading towards the coast and we'll be doing some of the most amazing beach and coastal driving you have ever seen, or at least I have seen. So stay tuned and keep watching. So we're on the third leg of our trip and heading towards Fowlers Bay now. I'm not sure what to expect. I just heard there's some spectacular beach driving. When we drove into Fowlers Bay, we realized that Scotty and myself on Telstra had reception, but Dave on an Aldi card didn't have reception. So I looked into that a bit more. Do you have the same reception with an Aldi card than with a direct Telstra card? Found out on the Canning trip that's definitely not working.
Not quite the case, yeah. Although Aldi Mobile uses the 4G, Telstra 4G network in the remote areas, so anything sort of west of Ceduna and some of the little hubs outside of the remote townships, the bigger remote townships, Aldi Mobile doesn't have coverage.
The coastline around Fowlers Bay was first mapped in 1627 by the Dutch sea captain François Tissier. His ship was the Golden Seahorse. Fowlers Bay was named on the 28th of January 1802 by Matthew Flinders, who named it after his first lieutenant Robert Fowler. Edward John Eyre set up base camp here in 1840 during his epic journey across the Nullarbor Plain. By this time the area was well known though to American and French whaling ships. Fowlers Bay was previously called Yalata and was a thriving active port which declined greatly in the 1960s though. Today it only has very few permanent residents. It also is the gateway for our Great Bight adventure. You do require camping permits for this park, which can be booked via the South Australian National Parks website. Sand on the beach is definitely soft, but yeah, with the correct tire pressure, no big deal, and obviously, yeah, big tires and so on does certainly help here. It is quite challenging to record good audio on the coast because even with dead cats, the wind is so strong that nearly all audio is unusable. Here I'm pointing towards the big seaweed banks, which really can pose a serious danger to any four-wheel drive. These seaweed banks are often meters high, then they get covered with sand, and for you it looks like you just drive over sand, only to sink into your chassis rails in seaweed, which can make for difficult recovery. The beaches on the Great Australian Bight are regarded as the most treacherous beaches in Australia. The softness on the sand on the beaches also varies greatly. Scotty demonstrates that nicely here. By just leaving the wheel ruts, you see how the rear starts sinking and he has to really power out. You can be driving over firm, solid sand, but just driving a little bit to the left or right, all of a sudden it feels like quicksand. So we definitely all had our proper beach tire pressure and we're all running around 15 psi. What more can you ask for? Unspoiled nature, not a single soul around, and the most amazing beach driving you can imagine. just about lunchtime, and what a better spot to have lunch than here on Scott Point overlooking the ocean.
Well, it's very obvious that this was once sea floor that we're standing on right now, because there's shells everywhere, remnants of old shells.
Look at these, that is just amazing. Honestly, millions and millions of years ago, that must have been then fossilized in the rock, and now through the wind and so on gets exposed. I'm keen to hear if you know more how that shells got there. What an exciting day.
Glorious.
Yeah, I can't believe these kind of sand dunes really here in Australia, and you're allowed to drive them, you know?
Yes, Scotty and I were reminiscing earlier about the early days in Stockton Dunes.
Yes.
And similar sort of experience, only this is even bigger, which is just amazing, because at the time, years ago, I thought Stockton was just awesome, you know, the dunes there.
No, I mean that is Stockton. Yeah, they're higher, they're much wider.
They're whiter.
Yeah, they're whiter.
The sand is very, very, white here.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Pretty soft sand, and the beauty is, I mean, usually I don't throw rooster tails and so on, but we got a little bit carried away. Yeah, that's his fault. But
I haven't done that for years. But it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. And the beauty is, I mean, by the time we left, already some of the tracks you couldn't see anymore.
They're already covered up. Yeah.
So much wind blow.
Yeah, there's a big southerly that's come in, so yes.
No harm, no foul, and we had a bit of fun in the meantime, I think. And that's what owning, for me, owning a four-wheel drive's about. It's a tool to get into these beautiful places, but you can also let your hair down every once in a while and enjoy that mud puddle and sand dune. So
yeah, the mud puddle I won't enjoy unless you give me your car. Then I will enjoy it like crazy, mate.
It's not going to happen.
So
ever.
I'm happy to take the patrol at the next mud puddle. I think I hold you to that actually.
I've just mentally quoted that. Happy to take the patrol. No worries.
in the next mud puddle. Don't forget the rest of it.
No, today for me was one of the best days four-wheel driving in a long time. Being behind the camera and those ospreys nesting, it's just so scenic, and there's no one around, is there? That's what I was saying the other day. I reckon South Australia is, honestly, it's Australia's last hidden secret.
Well, yet again, South Australia has produced, hasn't it? Like, the whole trip's been fantastic, and this is no exception.
I'm looking forward to what the rest brings.
Absolutely.
We initially wanted to set up camp there, but then decided that we could do better. Scotty wanted to drive back to Scott's Head to film the Osprey, and Dave and myself decided to venture into the dunes once more and look for a better camp spot. But just before we went separate ways for a few hours...
Snake on the beach. Wow, this is awesome.
Really? Film. Scotty just saw a snake on the beach. Where is it? To me, it looks like a brown, but I'm no snake expert, so if one of my viewers can identify it, it would be greatly appreciated in the comment section. Brown snakes are highly venomous and are the leading cause of snakebite and snakebite death in Australia. This is because the eastern brown snake can cope and even thrive in areas of human disturbance, and its natural range happens to include some of the most populated parts of the country. We used to have a snake at home, and I'm well aware of the danger, keeping a safe distance here, and I'm ready for an immediate fast exit if required. Yeah, quick update of the BFG KM3. If you follow my channel, you probably know I have run KM2s and KM3s for many years. I also had a few excursions to other tires. I run Coopers, I run Nittos, but the KM2s pretty much were my go-to tire. Around 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to test a pair of BFG KM3, the successor of the KM2, and I was super happy with them. I did the canning with them. I did over 35,000 kilometers in a year, and they held up very well. So now I'm one of BFG's ambassadors, so that means I get one set of tires per year for free. So take that into account. However, I can't really cheat, because you see all my trips on my videos, you see what happens with all my gear, and the BFG really have served me very well. Alone on this trip now, we did some very harsh country in the Bentley ranges, very sharp rocks, a lot of hill climbs, so very steep terrain, heavy weight on the vehicle. Then we did desert, which I'm very familiar with their tires. Last year alone I did 3 desert trips on the KM3s. And now we do some beach sand driving here. Look, I can't fault them. You see how well they were. We actually did play around in the dunes. I show you a bit of footage. Usually stuff I don't do. I don't throw rooster tails and so on. But I'm running pretty low pressure, 14 psi. And did a lot of swift steering maneuvers. No issue whatsoever. Tire off the beat, all perfectly fine. I mean, they have a few cuts and nicks, which you obviously would expect from the kind of driving I do with it. But yeah, overall, very happy with the BFG KM3. Let me give you a few more impressions of these amazing dune fields. Some absolutely epic beach driving and dune driving here, and very deceiving. Some of it looks pretty firm. You start driving, but all of a sudden you just sink in. There was once or twice where I had to reverse back and pack a little bit to get back out there. What a day. Absolutely stunning. This is one of the soft patches where I initially had to rock a bit forward and backwards to get out. Dave demonstrated that technique quite nicely in the previous video. You also still hear my alternator making noises. However, this has since been fixed with a new bracket. I can't. What a day of shooting. I mean, absolutely nuts, mate.
Holy shit.
I mean...
Holy crap. There's still pink in the sky. Like, I needed about 40 hands to run cameras, drones. Oh,
absolutely nuts.
The stuff I've got this afternoon and today in general is just, wow. How'd you go?
Actually, I don't know whether I had a better day of 2 hours of just not letting up. Solid shooting. Stunning, mate.
I reckon for me it would definitely be top 2 afternoons of shooting I've ever had.
And that means something. Yeah.
But the location, like these dunes as a backdrop, holy shit. Yeah. And with that light we just got, it was magical.
Everything just fitted, mate.
It was so good. So good.
Yeah. Okay, I'm having a Reddix now.
I'm just a happy dude.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Scotty still stayed for another hour in the dunes while I went down to the base of the dune where Dave camped and started putting up my camp and getting some Reddix on for dinner. Pretty late night after all the shooting, so a Reddix, plant-based chickpea, tomato, basil it is. That's it. With some lime chili and bean wrap. I like the plant-based one nearly better than the meat and fish. Preparation time 2 minutes, then 50 minutes wait, Can't be any quicker. In the next episode, the adventure just continues. What a chance to meet one of my Patreon supporters. Dave tries to sink a line and catch some fish. We discover some more amazing dune fields and driving some of the most overgrown tracks I've ever seen. You will also find out why the bonnet of the cruiser is open and what bush repairs we are making. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and maybe got some useful information out of it. Please keep in mind, this is a privately funded channel. I don't do any paid reviews, I don't have any big sponsors, so all of this comes out of my own pocket. So if you can, it would be greatly appreciated if you could head over to Patreon and become one of my Patreon supporters. With a small monthly payment, you really can help me to stay independent and make these videos for you. I also receive many questions every day from all sorts of subjects, from travel advice, from car build advice, from location advice. It is impossible for me to answer all these questions. However, as a Patreon supporter, you have direct access to me via the Patreon platform. Any easy questions asked there, I will do my best to answer that question. You will also receive all my videos a few days earlier and some exclusive videos only released on Patreon. So if you can afford it, maybe head over there and shout me a cup or two of coffee per month. Thanks a lot for watching. See you along the tracks. My final thanks to everyone involved in the trip. A special thanks to Scotty from Southern Sky Images for some of his footage. Make sure you check him out on social.